Welcome back into the College Football Every Game on the Board podcast, part number 4 with our closer, Gabriel Morency, the most entertaining man in sports betting at SportsRage on Twitter. Gabe, welcome in. How you feeling?
Enter Sandman at the back end. Let's do this thing, Drew. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, buddy. Guys, if you are new to Every Game on the Board, we go through every single game on the board, and this is the last part. We're going in rotation order, 395, 396. Mississippi State, Arkansas, down through the end of the card, Army and LSU. So, Gabe, Mississippi State, Arkansas to kick us off here. SEC West battle, 48 being the total, -6 in the hook. That's the Razorbacks. Woo, Pig Suey in Fayetteville.
I'm going to kick it old school, Lou Holtz style. I remember Lou Holtz used to play up his opponent like no other coach has ever done. Yeah, I gotta tell you, that's the best. That's the best damn 0-7 football team I've ever seen on tape. Right, like every team he'd break down. I don't know how that team is 1-8 because I tell you that I watch them on tape and man, are they good. All kidding aside, Arkansas, this is one of the best 2-5 football teams ever. I don't know. Find me another 2-5 team in the country. I'll take Arkansas in a head-to-head matchup. These guys haven't played a home game, Drew, in over a month, bro. Look at the schedule that these guys have dealt with. They've been on the road. Ole Miss, LSU, Tuscaloosa. They played against Texas A&M in a neutral game in Texas, in Dallas. They literally haven't played at home, Drew, since September the 16th. Now, to look ahead into next year, actually, just quickly, and you being the SEC guy, Arkansas got the best draw, Drew, out of the new realignment and all this. If you like, they don't play Georgia, they don't play Alabama, like they don't play Oklahoma. They do play Texas, but if you look at the big picture, Arkansas football is going in the right direction. Pittman's a great coach. He's one game short of being 500 in his career. This is a big game for them. They're going to be hard pressed to make a bowl, Drew. 4 of their last 5 games, though, are in Fayetteville at home. I just think they're ready to take some frustration out. They've got great athletes. I'm a big Jefferson fan. They hung with Bama last week. You look at this Mississippi State team. This is a team that's going in the wrong direction right now. And they're a bad road team, Drew. They're 2-6 straight up, 1-7 against the spread. Their last 8 road contests in conference play. I like Arkansas to take some frustrations out in this game.
Great start to part number 4 with Gabe. And I mean, you bring up, the best 2-5. It's part of the when you come to a good conference like the Big Ten, like the SEC, where do the wins come from? Sometimes it gets difficult. Like it could be a bad thing in a sense, Gabe. But hey,
well, wait till next year, man. Listen, dude, this is the last year of college football as we know it, right? Like there's going to be a lot of shocked college football fans that don't realize what's coming when their favorite team is suddenly going to be 8-4 every year. Yeah, you used to be 10-2, not anymore. Like, dude, the Michigan Wolverines schedule next year, they go to Ohio State, they go to USC, they host the Washington Huskies, they host Penn State, and, for whatever reason, they have a non-conference game against the Texas Longhorns in Ann Arbor. That's like 5 top, you know what I mean? Like, how are you going to not lose games? It'll be interesting to see the new playoffs, isn't it? Like, I guess the new playoff deal will be 10-2 gets you in, right?
Sure.
Like 2 losses. And I'm sure that it'll be sometimes, hey, man, look at the schedule that they played. They only have 3 losses. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. So this is really like this is almost like the last year to BCS or something. Like this is the last year of the way that we're going to know it moving forward.
Well said, Gabe. Yeah, I mean, how low can it go? 2 losses? I think for sure. 3 losses? Maybe. I mean, if your schedule's that difficult and you start looking good at the end of the season, who knows how many losses you could have. It's going to be interesting to see next year, man. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's a new frontier. It's going to be really fun and really cool basically, guys, it's going to be like New Year's Day, every Saturday in college football. Like every Saturday, you're going to be like, what, Washington's playing Michigan? USC's at Ohio State today? What, I mean? It's going to be like Oregon's at Penn State today? Oklahoma's at Alabama today? That's just going to be a standard Saturday now suddenly. But they're all going to cannibalize each other. So it's going to be fun for the television viewer and the network and the bettor. Not going to be so much fun for the head coaches, I tell you that. Look at Lincoln Riley right now, Drew, and USC. All right? Look at the defense that they have in the Pac-12. what's going to happen in the Big Ten?
It's not going to be good.
And they're going to be playing in the snow. You're going to be going to Piscataway and Happy Valley and Chicago and stuff. Have fun with that. It doesn't make any sense, but whatever. It is what it is. It's all about money. Like I said, it'll be fun to bet on, but college football, as we know, it'll be totally finished. Like, you know what I mean? Like rivalries are done, travel's done, it's a new world. Except your SEC that sort of kept it regional. So one thing they said, we're not going to get too stupid, like the Big Ten did.
Well, moving down the list here, guys. TCU in Kansas State up next, 7:00 Eastern here, Gabe. It is 59.5 being the total, -6 in the hook. That's K-State at home. TCU, K-State. You liking anything here?
I'm leaning with the underdog here, Drew. This is a big-time revenge spot. As good as TCU were last year in their season, remember, K-State knocked them off in the championship game. So we've got a big revenge spot here. I just get the feeling that this is a pretty close game. I don't think it should be 6.5 here. I think the point spread's a little high. We have questions as far as K-State's offense is concerned right now. They pulled Howard. We've got quarterback issues here. You've got the kid starting here. How about poor Chad Morris, man? The quarterback. This guy goes to TC, transfers when he was at SMU before. He ends up at TCU. He's the starting quarterback. He gets hurt. Duggan takes over, goes on that run. Chad Morris starts giving my team again. He gets hurt, right? He gets hurt again. Yeah. So it's just like rinse and repeat here. But I think TCU, I didn't think they were going to be as good as they were last year, obviously, Drew, but I think they might be dialing it up a little bit right now. That was a big-time win for them last week. Sonny Dykes getting points in a spot like this. I prefer K-State getting points, not laying points, Drew. I like TCU plus the points in this game. I like Arkansas better, but I lean with TCU here.
For sure, Gabe. As we head to the SEC up next, Tennessee and Alabama, 3:30 Eastern CBS game here, Gabe. 47.5, 48 being the total, -8 in the hook. That's Alabama at home. Bet Online hanging -8. It's as high as -9.5 at Caesars. So some opinion in the marketplace here. Either way, Alabama going off as the favorite in Tuscaloosa.
Fascinating game, isn't it? In the sense that it's a revenge spot. Tennessee beat them last year. This is amazing to me. Drew, normally when you talk about Alabama, so Alabama are the first team in 20 years in the SEC. And normally when you hear this, you're like, oh boy, like what kind of crazy record have they set now? They're the first team in 20 years in the SEC to give up and allow 4 more sacks in 6 straight games.
Wow.
Like what? Alabama? Not like Vanderbilt or not like someone else? No. Alabama. 6 straight games, they've allowed 4 more sacks. The Tennessee Volunteers are getting to the quarterback now, Drew. Right? This is the one thing that they've been doing. They're all talking about their defense. Yards for loss, tackles behind the line of scrimmage, hurried, quarterback sacks. Tennessee caused havoc in the trenches. So it's amazing to me and fascinating to me that somehow in this football game, when you talk about Tennessee versus Alabama, the question mark is, how does Alabama match up against Tennessee's physicality on the line? And I think they will. I think this is payback. Dude, I never buried Alabama when they lost to Texas. I never buried Milroe when they lost to Texas. Alabama's death and funeral announcement was a little bit premature, Drew. They're finding a way right now. Milroe is great at throwing the deep ball. Their wide receivers do get open. It's very sort of stunted. What they do, run, bomb. It's almost like old school Raiders. Run, bomb. There's nothing complicated. They don't run slants. It's basically run the ball, and you know what? Let's throw it 50 yards down the field, and we're going to hit like 50% of these things. And it's been working for them. This point spread really is, this one's tricky because I do think Tennessee can hang around in this game. And I think Alabama are good enough to make it to the SEC Conference Championship game without losing again. But at the same point in time, I don't think it'll be easy for them, Drew. You know what I'm saying? Sure. I don't think there's going to smoke teams. I think they can, Nick Saban can sort of guide them and they can try to get through it. But I just have a hard time getting in front of Alabama here, bro. Alabama are going to win this game, point blank. So now we get into, are they going to cover the point spread or not? I'll have Alabama and some money line parlays. If I had to lay the points, I would, but I don't see Tennessee beating Alabama in back-to-back years, Drew.
Yeah, I don't see it either, Gabe. I think this is kind of a spot where Alabama, I kind of like Alabama minus the 8, which is the low water mark right now, guys. But hey, we'll see what happens. Great breakdown there, Gabe, as we'll go from Tuscaloosa to Birmingham. A short drive here. Memphis and UAB, noon Eastern kick. We got 61.5 being the total, minus 6.5. That's the Memphis Tigers at UAB, the Blazers here. Trent Dilfer's UAB.
As Trent Dilfer calm down. I'm SportsRage. This guy's rage. You want to talk about rage?
He's a wild man.
Trent Dilfer, like he's a hard guy to like. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't listen. Historically, UAB have covered the point spread in this rivalry. Right? They've matched up well with them in the past. This is the game that I like the least so far. Like I'll be honest with you, all these other games, I'm like, yeah, man, I like this Arkansas team. Alabama, Tennessee, I'm going to be watching that for sure. This is one where I'm like, yeah, I don't really like it. To me, it would be Memphis or pass, though. I can't hang my hat on past history when Trent Dilfer's the new coach, right? Like when you talk about college trends, it's with the coaching staff, right? That's when people say, well, what does it matter 6 years ago? Because Harbaugh's the same, coaches remain the same. Right. But when you have a new coach, that's when the new trends and the new system comes into play here. So for me, I don't know how you feel about this, is I don't trust UAB enough, quite frankly, bro. They have one quality win on the season, Drew. Yeah, there's not a lot to really hang my hat on here. To me, it's Memphis or pass.
Yeah, this isn't one that I bet either, Gabe. It's one of those, like, if it was on a Wednesday night,
I'll put my hand. If it was on a Wednesday night, I'd be on Memphis any over, all right?
Like it, man. And also you bring up Trent Dilfer, like being a rage kind of guy. Do you like that type of coaching? Or no, you like more player friendly?
No, it's funny. You figure I would, right? I'm one of these,
Yeah.
But I don't mind intensity. I don't a great example. I'll make it quick, but a great example, Rick Tockins, a really hard-nosed hockey player, all right? Guy liked to bet too, actually, on a side note, Drew. But he was a coach in the NHL and he was taking bets. With players, not on the NHL. Basically, you want to get a bet on the Eagle game? Yeah, all right. You speak to the coach. Remember the Wayne Gretzky scandal and all that? That's who he was with, right? So anyways, He's a hardcore guy, cool dude. He's the coach of the Vancouver Canucks. They started off two wins in a row, Drew, on the season. They're only a third game in. They were flat in the first period. After the game, he goes, I don't know what the F that was, but not yelling. He goes, I don't know what the F, but he goes, I got to tell you what. He goes, I got 4 or 5 guys that I'm going to personally talk to. That's what he said. But it's almost like a mobster. You know what I mean? He didn't yell. He didn't name names. He goes, there's just 4 or 5 guys that I got to talk to and see how to get them going. And I don't mind, good example is, I hate it. Brian Dable throwing the tablets around Daniel Jones, throwing his hands up in the air when Tyrod Taylor comes. I hate that stuff, playing up to the media and the fans and all that crap, showing up. I hate to show up. And so I don't mind yelling at the players. I don't mind being intense. But anyone that doesn't know about Trent Dilfer, the guy freaking lost it, man, on the sidelines. Started getting in all the coaches' faces, but past he got into demeaning territory here. And of course he's he said, "Oh, I'm a Christian," and he gets into this. Well, he always hangs his hat on that. I just the act is old with me here, Drew. I wouldn't want to play for him. I'll put it that way. I ain't playing at UAB.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like the demeaning either. I don't mind the yelling at players though. If they're doing something wrong, that's never really bothered me. But I get it. If you're demeaning
But in the new modern era, you played football, so you would know. I played hockey. Dude, our coach used to hit us with sticks in practice. He'd get arrested.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not skating fast enough. He'd skate behind. Basically, the coaches would skate behind you, and if they caught up to you, you were getting whacked in the ass with a hockey stick. It was and it was sort of go faster, right? Nowadays, it'd be like, there's some guy in Canada hitting kids with sticks. Like, you know what I mean? For us, it was like, better skate faster. It'd be like, hey, he's in a bad mood today, man. Skate fast. Like, you know what I'm saying? Keep going. But the old Bobby Knight stuff and all this, it doesn't work, Drew. It doesn't work. Like the more raw stuff, the modern athlete, bro, he's making as much money as you are. You can't yell at the kid. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's totally different now. You've got to manage it differently.
For sure, Gabe. No, great stuff, man. And guys, we've got about 5 games left here, going down in rotation order, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock local time. And Gabe, and a game I'll be attending. So interested in your thoughts here. Mississippi and Auburn, -6, -6.5, anywhere in between there, guys. 55 being the total. A good one. This should be a pretty good atmosphere. We've been waiting for this in Auburn, Alabama. What do you like in Hottie Toddy versus War Eagle?
Well, and I don't need to tell you, but to set the stage, of course, with Coach Hugh Freeze now being the head coach of the Auburn Tigers, he was at Ole Miss before he was at Liberty. A little history lesson for people. And if you recall what he got fired for, right?
Yeah, I do, Gabe, but to tell you the truth, I don't think a lot of people realize it because I had it wrong until I talked to one of my best friends that went to Ole Miss, and he reminded me, I thought it was for recruiting.
No,
he said, no, it wasn't.
No, he was using an Ole Miss phone to call hookers.
For himself.
Yeah, and arguably recruits.
I always thought it was for the recruits.
Yeah, but it was basically, but yes, true. Yes. Like, I don't want to make it too seedy, but yes, like him's like.
I never realized that.
It's one thing, Drew, to do it, but he's basically doing it on the Ole Miss credit card. It's like, bro, you can't have 33 escorts. That's not like, listen, things got wild. It was a bachelor party. It was a wild night. It's like, no, listen, coach, you got like 33, like 33 times. Like, so, and I love Drew. My favorite part of all that, I don't care, dude. But my favorite part of all that was that he ends up at Liberty after. That's the school that hires him. I guess Falwell Jr. was on board, but that's a whole other story. But all kidding aside, I like this Ole Miss team. I really do. I think Kiffin's a good coach. I like the fact that he adapts from year to year. He'll pass the ball sometimes. Sometimes he'll become run heavy, right? But you're the Auburn guy. This feels to me like this is the game that's been circled. And everything I just talked about. Freeze got this circled. The kids have this one circled. This feels like a winnable football game. Ole Miss are not the same team on the road either as they are at home. I'm not just saying this because you're going to the game, but War Eagle, hopefully Cam Newton's there getting lit up. Hopefully Bruce Pearl is there taking his shirt off and stuff. And
Bo
we have
Jackson,
one of those. Bo.
Charles Barkley.
Hopefully they're all there. But I get the feeling that they're a real live dog and can win this game outright, actually. Give me the Eagle, War Eagle plus the points, Drew.
I love it, Gabe. I got that same feeling, but obviously mine is a little biased. So love that you're looking at it that way, man. And we got 8 o'clock Eastern next, heading to the Sun Belt. Georgia State and UL Lafayette. We're seeing ULL -3.5 point home favorites, 63 being the total. I'll tell you, Gabe, this Georgia State Panthers team's pretty good. Do you like anything in the Sun Belt game?
Yeah, here's another 5-1 football team that's kind of flying under the radar. I'm not going to lie to you. I expose myself to enough Sun Belt and enough sun during the week with these games at times. So on a Saturday night, I don't really want to get in front of it. But you know what I would do here, and I will do? I'm going to end up with a piece of the over in this football game. Doesn't this game feel like it's going to end up being a track meet? I think this one opens up. If you look at the history of these teams, last year was 21-17, but we've had a 65. We had a 58 put up on the board as well. I just get, you look at this, you look at how Georgia State is playing football right now. They can score points. When they get into the 30s, they get into the 40s routinely. I think this game does turn into a track meet. I take the over in this game.
Gabe, next up, heading to the Big Ten, Northwestern and Nebraska. We're seeing Cornhuskers minus 11.5 point home favorites, 41 being the total Big Ten action.
As crazy as it sounds, I'm going to take the over of this game. I know that's crazy. You know what? Look at the history of these teams. Remember the Ireland game was a track meet? It's hard to keep up with. Was it last year or 2 years ago? I guess it was 2 years ago. Northwestern beat. It was like their only win of the season. They beat them
in Europe, right?
in Ireland. In the opening Dublin game. This Nebraska team, anyone watching this show knows college football, so I don't need to tell everybody the script about how Matt Rule operates, right? Year one, blah, blah, year two, year three, and stuff. This is a pretty good year one that he has going on here, to be honest. Like, the 3-3. I know it's not what people in Lincoln want to hear, but we're not trying to be patronizing. Oh, you're 3-3. You're going to be 4-3 after this game. The only question is, do you cover the point spread? It looks like Nebraska are going to be going bowling this year, which I think is an accomplishment. They're 3-3. I don't hold anything against them. They got smoked by Michigan. Okay. Who hasn't? You know what I'm saying? Michigan went in there if you take that game away. And also what I find interesting, Drew, if you look at Nebraska's 3 wins this year, they're all by double digits. Like when Nebraska win, they win, right? And every one of their games that they've won convincingly, and or they've pulled away. I'm not in love with laying the points. I wouldn't surprise me if they won by 10 or if they won by 13. I think I might go with a Nebraska and Alabama. We were saying earlier, I like Alabama to win, but I'm not really loving the points. I like Nebraska to win, but Nebraska will win this football game.
Will Nebraska-Alabama money line parlay?
Yeah, I'll do the math right now as we move on to the next game here.
All right.
I don't think it's going to be enough, though. I'm not going to like the sounds of this price.
All right.
What do you think it is? Minus 149 or something?
I'm not too big of a money line parlay type of guy, but yeah, I was going to say like minus 180. I don't know.
No, I wouldn't do it if it was minus 180. Like I'm hoping here. Let me bang this off fast. I'm not a big money line. I've stayed away. I'm not an anti-parlay guy for the record. I don't judge. Well, I don't play parlays. Whatever works for you, you do. But for me, I don't get into it, especially when you get into like the favorite money line parlays, Drew. You've got to do a lot. You add all these games and stuff. All it takes is one for one team to stumble. But if you've noticed, there really hasn't been any massive upsets this year. And in fact, I saw teams that are favored by 10 or more points. I think it's like 70-1 straight up or something, Drew. I wish I had the number in front of me. Yeah. Like people that are betting the old, you know what I mean? Like there's been no App State beating Michigan. Like name me one massive upset in college football this year.
Chime in here, guys, if you're watching live.
Think about it, just off the top of your head. Yeah. Like
Georgia Tech over Miami.
All right. Miami. Okay. How many point favorites were they?
20. All
right. And also it should be noted that Miami could have taken a knee and didn't.
Yeah, that might be the
game. That's probably the game, though. That's the one. You know what I mean? Like, there hasn't been like that. Normally, too, there's a bunch of FCS schools that'll win. The Eastern Washingtons will beat someone or something like that. I'm just stating it's been everything is played to form pretty much this year in college football.
Yeah. No, it's a great point. Not like past seasons.
For the record, I think the Hurricanes are in big trouble, bro. I think Clemson are going to beat them and put another nail in that coffin.
Do you think Cristobal could be shown the door like that bad by the end of the season?
I don't know, dude. Like they fire coaches like the weather changes there, Drew. Like every year, like every 2 years, we got our guy, Richter. We got our guy. I can't even keep up anymore. I've never been a big Cristobal fan. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm surprised he got the job. I'm surprised he got the Oregon job too. Like it's kind of like he's always kind of out kicking his coverage, I feel.
Isn't he a classic example? He should be a politician.
Yeah.
He fails at his job, but he falls ass backwards upwards.
Yeah.
It's like, you didn't do a good job. Let's give you a bigger job. Like, I mean, it's one of these coaches. I think people will eventually start to figure out. He did the same thing in Oregon once, too. He could have taken a knee and he didn't. So it's not even the first time, but I've never been a big crystal ball fan, but let's keep it rolling. I just want to throw it out there. I don't trust the Hurricanes at all. Kids are talking about transferring and stuff behind the scenes there. I like Clemson. And for the record, I get it. The last 15 times Michigan and Michigan State have played, hard to believe, but Sparty are 10-5 straight up, man. And they've actually covered 12 of them. Not this time. All right. J.J. McCarthy's Heisman push begins now. They're going to murder these guys. Even Michigan State's coach told people, don't expect them to take it easy on us. Dude, they're trying to set the bar low here. Lay the 24. Michigan are going to win 52-3 or something like that.
Okay. And Gabe, I'm putting in 100 here on Bet Online. 100 to win 61.50.
Okay, that's not bad.
Okay. Yeah.
What on the parlay?
On the parlay. Nebraska.
That's 140-ish. All right. Maybe we'll put Michigan in there too. Just a little, it'll get better.
All right, guys. We got South Carolina and Missouri up next. 59 being the total, -7 in the hook. That's the Missouri Tigers as the home favorite.
This Missouri team has been the biggest surprise in college football to me. And remember, the season started with Drinkwitz talking about, oh, my brother's a doctor and he only a dentist or whatever the hell. He only makes how much and how much the kids make. And everybody pointed out that this guy makes $7 million a year to win 6 games a year. The Missouri Tiger total was 6.5 this year. Just to put in context, for what they did to bounce back after that loss in which they hung with LSU, that was a bad beat for Mizzou backers, to bounce back and win that football game last week at Lexington, big time stuff. This team is, I'm very impressed with what they do, but doesn't this feel like an underdog spot here? I mean, this Gamecock team has been battling, they're shorthanded. Spencer Rattler is really doing a good job in as far as the NFL is concerned. They see him battling without the players around him. And you're going to see Rattler's going to go higher than people think in the NFL draft. I think this is a time that it's kind of trappish to lay any points with Mizzou here. Gamecocks plus the points.
2 games left here, guys. Every game on the board, wherever you're downloading your podcast at, every game on the board. We got our closer, Gabriel Morency at SportsRage on Twitter. North Texas and Tulane. Gabe, Tulane, the Green Wave, -20-point home favorites, 63 being the total. Mean Green at the Green Wave in the Big Easy.
Yeah, listen, anytime I hear Mean Green, I just think, over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just think they can't stop anything, this team. To me, this is, I would lay the points here. This obviously isn't one of the games, the most attractive games on the board, but this is lay and pray. Lay and pray. And I don't mean pray for hope, but lay and pray like a predator, like an apex, like in the jungle, like a cheetah. Yeah, North Texas are terrible. I think the over's the play here.
I'm surprised that's only 63. We got last game on the card here, guys, to finish off the Week 8 slate. We'll also get a best bet from Gabe at the end. Army at LSU, 59.5 being the total, -32 -32.5 at Bet Online right now. LSU as the home favorite. I'll tell you the truth, Gabe, right off the bat. I like Army here plus the 32.5. What do you like?
I'm going to sign up and enlist for service as well, sir. Let's do this thing. We're going to we'll say reporting for duty. I like this Army team. They hit a little bit of a wall. They can throw the ball. They've got a really good wide receiver. The quarterback can throw it a little bit. Now, listen, let's just be real. LSU can sort of name their score here. But who did LSU play next week? Alabama, right? Alabama are up next for the LSU Tigers. Army, to me, can just chew up enough clock more than anything, right? Just chew up enough clock, running the ball. You don't even really have to score that much. Just if you can get a couple of first downs and eat up half a quarter, exactly. And LSU win this game by 24, 27, 28. I also don't think that Brian Kelly is in a rush to blow out a military academy. I don't, he knows he has nothing to, They need to get up to 35. That's a clean smoke job. It could get away from them. Now, listen, this is Army or pass, but it could get away from them. But would it shock us if it was 55-20 when it was all said and done or something like that? but I don't think LSU. I think LSU are going to be worried about injury. And when we talk about like they got Bama next week, I don't think kids on the team care. A lot of football players, even in the NFL, don't know who they are playing the following week until somebody tells them, like a coach will put tape on, right? Like I saw Travis Kelce on Pat McAfee. He did it on a Tuesday. They said, so you got the Chargers this week. And he said, oh, Dewey. He was right. I didn't like Dewey, yeah? Like, you know what I mean? The guy's busy in Saturday Night Live with like Taylor Swift and stuff. You think he's like, well, in 2 weeks we played the Broncos, and in 3 weeks, like that's a handicapper thing, right? But coaches know. So once Kelly's going to be thinking, all right, I can't afford to lose this lineman here, man. We got, you know, I can't afford. I get these guys off the field. It's just a little bit high. Army or pass.
Like it, Gabe. Guys, every game on the board, we'll get a best bet here. Shout out to the Chai picks in the chat box. We also got Daniel saying Alabama Tennessee game. We hit that, Daniel, just probably if you rewind about 10, 15 minutes. Quite money in the house as well. Jake, all you guys, Jake saying Georgia Tech over Miami, the only big one. Colorado losing to Stanford. Actually, that's a good point there, Jake. That was kind of a big one.
Yeah, but the thing is, Colorado really aren't that good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know what's crazy, guys? And quick, I know we're up against, but how about this? Like the biggest, you know what the biggest upset in football history is? Biggest betting upset in football history.
I do. It's Stanford over USC, right?
No, it's UNLV and Howard.
Oh yeah, I do remember.
So my question is, remember it was that night, Cam Newton's little brother, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so dude, UNLV were like 45-point favorites in that game. They lost the game outright. Should UNLV be 45-point favorites against anybody? Like they shouldn't be like, now they're actually good, actually. So maybe. Maybe. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like just to put in context. So yeah, technically Colorado. And for the record, I do like Stanford plus the 17 against UCLA this week. I think Stanford keep this thing going. It's too many points for UCLA to be laying on the road.
Sure. We were talking to Beating the Bookie about it. He said Stanford might have found something last week. But guys, we got best bet coming up here. Every game on the board, YouTube, wherever you're downloading your podcast at. Thanks for tuning in. Please smash that like button, rate. Feel free to comment below any questions. We can answer them on next week's show.
JJ McCarthy to win the Heisman. That's my last words on the way out. JJ McCarthy to win the Heisman. Everybody's giving it to Penix right now. We're only halfway through the season, people. You don't win the Heisman in October. You win this thing in late November, early December. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of football left to be played right now. JJ McCarthy, double digits. Keep your eye on him. Lay the points with Michigan this week.
All right, Gabe. Final thoughts, best bet. Was that just it? Or
yeah, you know what? I've got a few, and it pains me to say this, but Ohio State, lay the points with Ohio State against Penn State. James Franklin's 1-8 in his life straight up against Ohio State. Ryan Day's 28-2 at home. He's only lost to the Oregon Ducks and the Michigan Wolverines. Penn State aren't beating them this week. Ohio State.
So you want Ohio State as the best bet. All right, guys. That's going to do it for the podcast. Check out Viva Tequila Seltzer, vivatequilaseltzer.com. 4.5% ABV, zero sugar. BetOnline.ag. The game starts here. Huge shout out to our sponsors. Thanks for tuning in. Huge shout out to Gabe Morency at SportsRage. I'll be on his show tonight, guys. Sirius Channel 159, Sports Grid with Gabe Morency. Gabe, I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Take the points with Marshall. We are Marshall plus the 3.5. Let's go.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. That does it. Cash those tickets. We'll be back next week.